Welcome to TLTV, Joy and Pleasure Celebrated in Wine. I am here today at Domaine Clos Sainte Magdeleine in Cassis together with a winemaker that has really opened my eyes when I tasted one of his wine creations. I'm here with Jonathan. He is the manager and winemaker of the winery.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, please introduce yourself, tell a little bit more about yourself and your family.
Yeah, so my name is Jonathan Sack and I run Domaine Clos Sainte Magdeleine for now 8 years. It's a family vineyard which has been created in the middle of the 19th century, and my grandfather bought this winery in 1921, which means that I am the fourth generation now working in the vineyard. And what's very interesting in Cassis is we are in Provence and we are making dry white wine, which is very unusual for this area. We have an amount of rosé all around us, and Cassis is a little AOC, Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée, of about 220 hectares with 11 winemakers, and 70% of our production is the dry white wine.
And the dry white wine is as well where we start off with, and there's a certain types of cepage that you have in this particular appellation. And which ones are those that we're going to be having? They're similar for all 5 of the wines that we're going to be tasting, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We use approximately 4 types of grapes to make this blended white wine. The main type of grapes we have in Cassis is Marsanne. It should represent between 30 and 60% of the total blend. So in my production, it's about 45 to 50%. Then we use Clairette, Uni Blanc, and Bourboulenc. Uni Blanc is very important for us because it brings a little bit of acidity in the wine. And with Marsanne and Clairette, we have few acidity, so we need Uni for that. And moreover, it's one of the oldest cépages from Provence. So it goes perfectly well here with the soil we have made of clay and limestone. So Uni is very happy here. And Clairette is also very important in the blend.
And this is a part of the terroir. You can see, I will show you in the camera what we're sitting on. We're sitting in the vineyard right now. So what is that cliff behind us called?
It's Cap Canaille. Cap Canaille is a very high cliff in the east part of Cassis Bay. So looking Massif des Calanques, which is actually the west part of Cassis Bay. And it's a cliff made of limestone mainly, and a little bit of clay also. And that's very important because it brings a lot of minerality in our wines. We have a lot of little rocks in the field. We have terrace behind us, so culture of the vine is made with terraces, and we have all these rocks in the ground, and that's what brings the minerality in this white wine.
So that is where we get to the part, Jonathan, of tasting your creations. How long have you been making wine here at the winery?
Well, I started to make the wine here in 2010, so I did for now 5 vintages completely.
Okay, so we have all of them in front of us here, and I had a sneak preview. I was like, TLTV is always honest and direct. I was here before to visit Jonathan to say, hey, listen, I'm really interested. First of all, this is a majestic, beautiful place to grow vines and make wines. But that's only the first step. The next step is to really make fantastic wines. And if you look how Jonathan works, it's very well organized. It all looks like a very well-oiled operation in the sense where he really focuses on creating quality wines. Yeah. And the vinification, what can you tell me about that?
Well, the vinification, when I started to do the job, it was, so for, as I said, for the vintage 2010, and it was, I could say, a traditional vinification. And what I started to do is to use more natural and indigenous yeast to make the wine, keep my wine on lees, and try to respect for the maximum the terroir we have in Cassis, because we have a very, very specific terroir, different from Bandol, different from Côte de Provence, very specific with interesting characteristic. So I want to have that in my wines.
And this is the part, the noses are coming because the sun is setting in a few minutes, so we're going to be kicking off this wonderful tasting. We're doing it reverse, we're doing it different. We started 2010 and work our way up to 2015.
Okay, sounds good to me.
As always, we're tasting the wines. I will describe them, discuss them. As if Jonathan agrees or disagrees with me, he adds additional information, and we're just going to have a wonderful conversation, wine tasting in probably one of the most beautiful environments in France. This is
Thank you.
Majestic. Wow. So we start with 2010. What is the blend of cépage for 2010, Jonathan?
For the 2010, the blend of cépage is, as I said, Marsanne, the main cépage, then Uni Blanc, Clairette and Bourboulenc, with Marsanne representing about 50% of the blend.
Okay. So thank you for the invite. Let's get started. The first thing that I noticed, the appearance is still very, very young of the wine. If you look at the color, they all have, there's very little difference, except from 2013, 14, 15, they have a different color, even though we have a lot of sun. These are not ideal conditions to look at the color. And this is more intense. This is like liquid gold in your glass. And this is from the nose. It's subdued, but you get some spice. I almost would say some muscat, interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you get some very distant citrus, but it's very subdued. It's very, very distant. And then there's a wonderful feast to start. You get like a lot of, I call it white licorice. It's not like réglisse noire. It's like white licorice, like the sweet wood you used to chew on as a child.
Mm-hmm.
You get like white stone fruits, but very subtle. You get a nice acidity that really plays when it has a really enjoyable viscosity. I would never have said this is 2010.
Okay. What's very interesting for me for this vintage is we had during 2000, let's say 2002, 2003 until 2009, a very dry period. And in 2010, started to rain a little bit more, and we had more balance probably in the wine, considering we had more water during winter time. That's the first information. And the second thing is, remember that the part of Marsanne is important in the blend, and Marsanne can be very interesting if you keep it for just 2, 3 or 4 years. It can give a nice body to the wine and to be more long, more longer.
For me, what I find is it's not boring. I call these wines with perspective.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a wine. I'll be honest with you, as I know where we're going, this is very different. It seems that you have made some changes along the time. I don't know what's in these glasses, but between these two, so there's the start and the finish, it's very different. So I'd say in the vinification you have changed something between those as well.
Yeah.
I find this really interesting, and I like it a lot. I mean, if you get your hands on this, probably very difficult to find. For me, this is like an 88 points. It's a wonderful crafted wine. It's very deep. It's like it really displays, and that's before the cork flies off. It really displays the terroir and as well the talent of you and the team that make these wines. And it just keeps on going, and it's something where it will go really well with local cuisine.